And let me look at our agenda. Come on, agenda. And I certainly hope we get more people on this before we get to the ECATS demo. All right, so we'll call the meeting to order for roll call as usual. Oh, there's Bruce. Good, I don't have to run this meeting. Hi, Bruce. I don't know if you saw the email from Kimberly, but she's not going to be able to join until about 10:30. I was going to go ahead and get the meeting started right before you joined in, so I'll let you run the meeting unless you want me to.
Nope. So do you just want me to start with the tracker?
Bruce, you there?
Yeah, sorry. I was having trouble with my audio. Yeah, Cindy, if we could start with the tracker, that'd be great.
Okay. So we did manage to migrate the Trinidad and La Junta sites. So those are the most recent migrations. We attempted migrations at Buckley PD and Rangeley. I wouldn't, well, not necessarily attempted at Buckley. We were supposed to do Buckley yesterday. And what we found is there's a gap in support we need to work through with Buckley. Lumen does not maintain that site. Their CPE support is, of course, through Taito Athene, which I think is common to the military, but it's break fix support. And the communications vendor on site, AT&T, has indicated they won't touch that 911 equipment. So we had no hands to actually move the camera circuits over or punch down camera circuits for Buckley. So we're going to have to work through if I can get a special dispensation to let a Lumen tech come in there and do that. Or if the military can work through some other option to have some hands on site to actually plug in circuits for Buckley.
Cindy, do
the alley cables and those pieces. So we have a bit of a gap we need to work through with Buckley. The equipment's all placed, everything's ready. We just need, obviously, to make up our alley cables and get them connected and have hands on site to plug the new ESInet equipment into the existing call handling gear.
Cindy, this is Monica. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Do you need help getting in touch with the guy that's in charge at Buckley?
No, he's involved.
Okay.
And he's the one who brought awareness to the issue yesterday. So he's reached out through his chain.
Okay.
But I think, like I said, he's got his support is all break fix and through, what is it, Hill Air Force Base? So it's not local.
Yeah. No. Okay.
I think my best bet, is hopefully getting special dispensation to get a Lumen Tech in there. Otherwise, it might be a while. And then at Rangeley, we passed everything except that darn KP48 test on pre-migration. We do have a support ticket open with Motorola to work through our KP48 issue and hopefully get that resolved. And we've penciled in a new migration date for the 21st. And hopefully we can get Motorola remote into that system to figure out why we're not getting the appropriate response on that test. We can get that resolved and then move forward with cutting the site.
And how about Cheyenne Mountain? Any issues there?
Cheyenne Mountain wants to be configured like Peterson. And so we need to have a conversation. And I think we've got one set up because Peterson is actually a remote off of El Paso Teller, and there's no equipment racked there. There's no circuits, but Cheyenne Mountain still wants circuits and equipment. So I need a little bit more information to understand what they're looking for when they're telling us they want to be set up just like Peterson.
Okay.
Yeah. So we've got a meeting set up to talk with them about that and get a little bit more understanding, but things are moving forward with Peterson.
Is El Paso Teller involved in that conversation? Is Cheyenne Mountain wanting sponsorship from El Paso Teller?
I don't know, but we have engaged them to ask them some questions to understand what exactly is going on.
Okay.
Yeah, I would definitely keep Carl Simpson or his IT people in the loop on that.
Yeah.
And then CSP Denver and Pueblo, are those have those been scheduled yet?
Denver space is an issue, so we're working through that, I believe. Pueblo circuits are in install. I was scheduled, but I think we had to put it on hold first.
And when it says CSP Denver, that's the Lakewood call center?
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know if there's anybody on from either CSP or from Pueblo County, but I did receive the quote to get them in the grant to cover their installation costs.
Okay.
This is Shauna from Pueblo. Thanks, Daryl.
Anybody have any questions on the migration update?
So Mandy just asked in the chat what CSP Montrose was doing, and they've already migrated, haven't they?
Yes.
Right, because they answer 911 calls for a different county, right? So they had their trunks. They just migrated from their CAMA trunks to the ESInet.
San Juan County.
They were on the list originally as a primary PSAP.
Right.
Pueblo and Denver aren't currently primary PSAPs, so they weren't on the original list.
That makes sense.
Okay.
There.
All right. Do we want to move over to the issues?
Miss Routes, I think we talked about this last time, and they should continue to be reported through the process we've had in place for years through the NRF report that you guys normally would file when you see those and those tickets opened. The ones we've researched, especially those wireless calls before, weren't an ESInet issue. They were an issue either with the wireless carrier or within their MPC provider's database. So the routing info that ESInet was getting was an ESRK routing digit for the PSAP we sent the call to. It's further upstream as to why that routing digit was being assigned to a call that was originating out of state. But that's why we want to keep following that process, so those tickets are opened and that research gets done so those issues can be fixed when we find them.
So when you talk about the process that's been in place, you're talking about opening an issue on 911 net through Entrado. Is that okay? All right.
Yeah.
Just wanted to make sure. I have one where Verizon people in downtown Englewood are hitting a tower that shows it's in Adams County, in Brighton. So we opened a 911 net ticket, but we're also going direct with the Verizon NOC to see if we can get this figured out.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the best approach on those. Like I said, so that we get all the parties, especially when it's further upstream, involved.
Okay.
I need to follow up with Converge. Oh, Summit County transfers, I believe. Vicky is still working on that with the Lumen knock and the Entrado knock. So far, nothing has been identified as to where those extra digits are coming into the message string that are causing these calls to misroute.
Okay.
What we're seeing in all the PCAP messaging is we're getting a 10-digit number that is different than what Summit County is attempting to actually hit. And it's got a digit somewhere in the string that's usually repeated that's throwing that string off and causing those calls to misroute.
So have we been able to confirm through Summit County's MIS that they are sending the correct digits?
That's what they've indicated. I don't know if we've seen the logs from that, but
Okay. Do we have anybody?
the messaging we see on the ESInet, like I said, has a different number, and it usually has a digit repeated somewhere in that string. So it looks like the number they're trying to send at first glance, but when you look at it in detail, there's one number that's repeated that throws the string off.
Okay.
And it's not in the same position every time. It's sometimes in the middle, sometimes at the beginning. So.
All right. Do we have anybody with Summit on the line? Do you have any questions, comments? Okay. Moving on.
So this one I've just left on because I need to follow up and find out if Fremont has completed and gotten all their equipment so that they can move off those legacy links. Douglas, Parker, and Castle Rock have moved off. It's just Fremont now remaining on the legacy link.
Do we have anybody on from Fremont County?
I don't see anybody.
Okay. Okay.
And the spam calls, again, this is just for tracking purposes. I believe these have gone way down, and we were expecting them to here in June as that stir shaken goes into effect to see those continue to drop.
So with stir shaken, the Lumen is going to reject calls that are not part of stir shaken?
I'd have to get more details. I'm not sure exactly how that works.
Okay. Yeah, and how many carriers, legitimate carriers have picked up stir shaken?
Yeah.
Would be good to know a little bit more detail on that, I think. Okay.
And then the remote pads, those have all been installed. And Paul was reaching out and making arrangements with each of the sites to install the actual physical switch. I'm just looking to see. He's scheduled actually to install yours at Arapahoe County on 6/15.
Mm-hmm.
He coordinated that with Kathy.
Yeah.
Boulder PD is being installed on the 10th, and CUPD is being installed today.
Okay.
So the pads are there, the networks are up. We're just need to plug in that toggle switch.
Okay.
I just added a link to the chat that from Newstar, which is a company that does numbering services at the national level. It talks about how stir shaken works, if anybody's curious.
Okay, thank you. Vail PD, we still continue to see some transfer issues there. Again, it's from 911 lines to admin lines. I think it's something in how it's interacting with their on-prem phone system.
So is this only when they're trying to transfer from 911 into their in-house PBX, or is it to other numbers outside the city of Vail's system?
Other numbers outside to Ski Patrol and some other places, but it's always an admin transfer. And I believe they're using their admin lines in their PBX.
Okay, so
transfer.
it's not a transfer from a 911 line.
It is.
Okay, okay.
Going out their admin lines in their PBX.
Gotcha.
They're not sending those back through the ESInet.
Yeah, that was my question. And I can do all this. It's just getting to it, right? Which isn't a big deal, but I hate to see all the.
Hey, Mark, I don't know if anybody else can understand you, but I cannot.
I was just say it was really hard to hear.
I'm sorry, it's the commander next door to me that's talking really loud.
Okay. So with that, we're also working, and I need to get dates confirmed with Motorola on the call handling equipment replacement at Vail and Aspen. And I've talked some with Motorola about this issue there too. So my hope is we'll get it resolved once and for all with that equipment upgrade. So if there is something in how the call handling equipment and the Avaya are interacting, because you're the project manager on this from Motorola. We are, I think, fortunate, used to work for Avaya and had some vague inkling that she'd heard this issue before when she was at Avaya. So she thought there might be something we needed to dig in more with the Avaya people. So that is my hope that after all these months of going back and forth, if we don't get it fixed in the next week or two with the equipment upgrade that's going in at the end of this month, we should hopefully get it firmly put to bed then.
Okay. I hope so.
Hey, Cindy, Jeff Tucker with Motorola.
Yeah.
Are we able to get the new SIP connections into Vail and to Pitkin on those dates that we had reached out to you about?
All we need to give you is the URIs, I believe. And I've reached out to Entrado. I haven't heard back, so I'll reach out again. But the equipment's all there. You can plug in. We just need to get you the URIs to send to.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey, Cindy, and this is Wes. Daryl, and I know we have one more item on that list to briefly talk about the update on the EXFO probe, but we do have Tiffany on standby to talk about the ECATs. She'll need some time on this call here, so we don't cut her short.
Yeah, there's nothing on the Expo probes other than once we get all these PSAPs migrated, we'll start working on replacing the older model Expos.
Before we get to the ECATS demonstration, Cindy, just quickly, I thought at one time we'd added a item to this just to keep track of it for interstate call transfers. Did that fall off?
No, it was kind of on hold, so I didn't have it on this active list, but I have it on my main tracker.
Okay.
Yeah, because we just had it on hold for later, but I can put it back on here.
Well, as long as it doesn't get lost.
No, it's
No, Daryl, we should be able to pick that up after we get all these other ones tucked in bed. Well, I was hoping this month, so we'll see.
Understood.
Me
Thank
too. And Tiffany was on, but I think dropped off. Is Tiffany still on?
Cindy, real quick, would you mind adding TSP to the issues tracker? I don't know if anybody else has considered this, but I did have TSP service, or I'm sorry, TPS, telecommunications priority service on my Kama trunks.
Yeah.
And I'm trying, I put the question out to Lumen about whether or not I can add that service onto my SIP sessions, but
Yes.
have not heard a definitive answer yet.
Yes, we can. And we own those circuits, so the process should be simple. haven't been through it before, so I have to get someone that has from another state to walk me through getting those configured.
Okay. And I'm sure everybody's aware, but that this service prioritizes your SIP sessions or your circuits over any that don't have that service for quick repair. In other words, if there's a major outage in a particular area, your circuits with this service would be dealt with first before, say, the local bank downtown or just regular government phones would be dealt with if they don't have that service.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Daryl, I don't know who's driving. You are, can we move to get ECATS going on? I know that she's gonna need some time that would fill up the rest of the hour.
Yeah, is she on the line?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, she was, but she dropped off. I don't know.
I'm
Oh
on.
boy.
Are you okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
There you are.
Hi, guys.
All right. Yep. Show's all yours, Tiffany.
All righty. I appreciate everyone's time. I need to figure out how to share my screen. Let's see here.
So down at the bottom, there's a present now right next to the raised hand icon.
Got it. Okay. I'm seeing it. All righty. Can everyone see my screen?
Not yet.
Not yet.
No? Okay. I must have done something wrong. Let's see here.
You should have selections to select window or entire screen or.
Here it goes.
Oh yeah, there you go. Got it.
You got it? Okay, perfect.
Yes, ma'am. All right.
Awesome. All right, let me go back here. Perfect. All righty. Thank you for giving me some time in your user group meeting today. I appreciate it. My name is Tiffany Chambers. I'm the sales director with ECATS. ECATS is a division within Intrado. I also have with me Derek Alvarez, who is our sales engineer. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of jump right into it. Wanted to start with kind of providing you with a little bit of the history of ECATS, how long we've been in the industry, what our current footprint looks like, and then doing an overview of the overall statewide MIS call handling reporting that we provide. In the previous meeting, we had a discussion in regards to our ability to provide I3 ESInet reporting, and we do have that ability, but that would be something that we would kind of take on or be able to look at that reporting suite as you guys take on or transition over to I3. So for the sake of this demonstration, I'm going to provide you with an overview of our ability to be able to aggregate 911 calls for the state of Colorado, as well as a lot of add-on modules. So there's a lot of functionality that ECATS has in addition to our ability to be able to report on your local call handling statistics. So text 911, dashboarding, we have in-depth reporting when it comes to wireless routing analysis and our ability to import your routing sheets, staffing forecast. I'm leaving the live demo towards the end just for sake of time. I'm not sure if we're going to have time to actually jump into the live demo, but we are prepared to show you a live portal as well and pull some live reports together. But by all means, feel free to ask me questions. I'd love to hear feedback. I would like to kind of keep this conversational because I'm going to be throwing a lot of information at you in a very condensed amount of time. Does that sound good?
Great.
Perfect. Thank you. Alrighty. So real quick, just so you have an idea of how long we've been in this space, we've actually been in the industry since '97. ECATS was actually originally built for the state of California back in '97. There was a huge need to be able to aggregate 911 call statistics across the state. State of California has every variety of call handling equipment. From the Vipers to the Vestas, Solocom, Zetron, you name it, they have it, every flavor, right? So every CPE platform has their own MIS reporting functionality and capability. So ECATS provided the state of California, as well as our additional statewide deployments, which you're seeing here in this list, the ability to be able to not only aggregate all the 911 call statistics across the state, but it gives that uniformity, right? So it gives you that one reporting platform that's looking at all of the 911 data the same way and being able to easily aggregate that for you. So we have several statewide deployments, ESInet deployments, as well as countywide. Specifically in the state of Colorado, we're deployed in about 15 jurisdictions in the state today. We're currently monitoring and managing over 2,600 plus PSAPs across the country with several national partners such as Lumen. Any questions in regards to the history of ECATS before we dive into the system? Okay. So ECAT stands for Emergency Call Tracking System. So it's one system that's going to give you that enterprise view, the ability to report on an individual PSAP within the state of Colorado, any county, any given size jurisdiction, as well as the entire state of Colorado. There's no data sharing in the portal. So if I am a PSAP manager and I manage my PSAP, and I'll just use Broomfield as an example, when I log into the portal, I can only see Broomfield's data. If I am a jurisdiction or if I'm a county director with multiple PSAPs within my jurisdiction, well, when I log into the portal, I can see all PSAPs within my county, within my jurisdiction. So there's no data sharing within the portal, but you're all accessing the same user interface. And I'll kind of show you what that looks like here in a moment. So ECATS is going to provide you with the ability to have access to all of your reporting via a service. So we have a team, our client communication specialist team, that's monitoring and managing all of your reports, all of your data. So you kind of have that go-to team when there's any questions in regards to the reports. If you need any refresher training, we're truly providing you with a service versus an off-the-shelf model where you have to adjust to fit the reports given, right? So we have the ability to be able to tailor these reports that I'm going to show you here in a moment to fit your SLAs. What are you holding your PSAP accountable to? You know, are you monitoring a particular answer time? We can tailor our reports to fit your specific needs for the state. So there is multi-level reporting that's in reference to our ability to tailor not only what you have access to from a PSAP standpoint, but we can also tailor the functionality and what you have access to from a report standpoint. So let's say that the state wants the ability to be able to aggregate 911 call activity across the whole state, but they don't want to look at agent data. There's no interest in being able to do a deep dive at the local individual PSAP level. They really are only, for Virginia, I'll just use Virginia as an example, at the state level, they're only interested in 5 reports, right? So we can tailor the number of reports, the types of reports, depending on the user login. So you do have that functionality. You will have the ability to build your own ad hoc reports, as well as schedule and share reports. So if you were to go into the portal and build a custom report, you can actually share that custom report that you had built with every ECATS user in the portal across the state of Colorado. And you can also schedule them to be emailed daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, so on and so forth. Keep in mind that ECATS is a data repository for you. So I had mentioned that we've been deployed in California since '97. They do have the ability to render reports back to '97. So when you were, look at your overall analytics and looking at trending over long periods of time, you do have the ability to access those calls from the time that we're actually deployed. Any questions so far? I tend to talk fast at times, so let me know. Alrighty. This is a snapshot of what the ECATS interface looks like. We are kind of a one-stop shop for you. So we have the ability to pull in, as I mentioned before, not only reports like the standard suite of reports that you're seeing here, you're also able to access your suite of text to 911 reports, your wireless routing analysis reports, your I3 ESInet reports, all from the same user login, same interface. So it's kind of like that one place to come to access all of the reporting needs that you would have for the state of Colorado from one interface. You would have the ability to be able to select an individual PSAP here, again, depending on your role. You can select a particular date range. You can specify a date range. We've added period groupings, time groupings, so you can actually customize your report directly from the ECATS interface. So let's say that I want to render a report for the last year, but I want my data grouped, grouped by month, or I want my data grouped by quarter or by week. You have period grouping options. Maybe I don't want to look at my calls per hour. Maybe I want to look at my calls in smaller increments, 15-minute increments, 30-minute increments. You have that functionality. You also have the ability to tailor a report to a particular call type. So depending on the different types of calls that you would want ECATS to monitor for you, we have the ability to bucket out your 911 calls versus your admin calls versus 311. I know that Utah, they report on their 311 calls. You also have abandoned call filters as well. There's a lot of functionality here directly from the ECATS interface. And here at the bottom, you're going to see that you have multiple outputs as well. So all of your reports will output in web, Excel, CSV formats. You'll have graph formats. You'll have options there as well, pie graphs, bar graphs, multiple options. One of the things I do think that's pretty neat, especially in a statewide deployment, is you'll have the option to include comparative data. That's this button that I'm scrolling over right here. If you were to click on include comparative data, as a PSAP manager, I'm now able to see, well, this is how I'm operating amongst PSAPs of my same size, right? Because the way a 3-station or position PSAP operates different than a 20-position PSAP. So it's kind of neat to know, okay, as an individual PSAP manager monitoring and managing my PSAP, this is kind of where I'm, operating amongst PSAPs of my same size, similar jurisdiction. So you're able to add comparative data in there as well at a statewide view.
Tiffany, I think Mandy had a question for you.
Okay. Sorry, you're raising hands. I can't see it on my side, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
This is Mandy. I put it in the chat. My question is just that because I don't have ECATS in my PSAP, so forgive me for those who do. Will this show, the rebid data for a cell phone on an individual 911 call, or that detail of information that we would get from a different, say, MIS product on this specific call handling equipment?
Great question. So we do have a suite, and this is what you're seeing here on this button where it says custom reports. We have a portfolio of enhanced reports. So we do have alley rebid reporting. We have abandoned call reporting. We have a suite of enhanced reports that can be included in your standard offering. So great question. We absolutely have a report that would cover that. Any other questions? Okay. This is just a kind of an overview of the standard pre-configured reports provided in the ECATS portfolio. Again, this does not include any of the enhanced reports that we provide. Reporting is the heartbeat of our division of our platform. We have built several, as you can imagine, enhanced reports over the many years, just because 911 is looked at differently from state to state. It's monitored differently from state to state. So we've built a lot of custom reports. And then when you look at our ability to be able to aggregate or report across every flavor of call handling equipment, well, every flavor of call handling equipment has a different flavor of CDR, right? Some have enhanced CDR, whereas others don't provide as much data. So depending on your CPE type is how deep we can, deep of a dive we can provide in reporting. We can touch multiple systems. So not only can we provide you with reporting on your call handling equipment, but we can touch CAD systems. We can touch PBXs. I mean, the more systems that we can touch, again, a deeper dive in reporting that we can provide. So this is the kind of the standard offering at ECATS. It does include a wireless call sector report. So we do have the ability to be able to show you these are the total number of wireless calls picked up on a given cell sector. And out of that number of wireless calls, this is the total number of calls transferred from PSAP A to PSAP B. Very popular report. This report, the call transfer report, because we are CP agnostic, we do have the ability to follow a call as it's being transferred from PSAP to PSAP to PSAP throughout the state of Colorado. So now you're able to actually see, well, how long did the call sit in queue? What was the talk time? What was the full duration per transfer? What was the life of that call, regardless of the PSAP that actually assisted in that particular dispatch? And again, in the live demonstration, I would actually pull a lot of these reports so you could see them live. But this is just for the sake of our time today. This is more so an overview of the platform. ECAT's management report. So we do provide you with a lot of exception level reporting from a management standpoint. So it's going to give you the ability to look at multiple PSAPs depending on your thresholds. Again, the defaults in ECATs is we monitor the need and answer time of 90% of your calls within 10 seconds or less, as well as the NFPA. So those are the defaults. But again, we have the ability to tailor answer times depending on SLAs and expectations that you hold your PSAPs to in the state. The day in review email, very popular email. This email is an email that is emailed out at first thing in the morning, every morning. You can opt into the email or opt out of the email, totally up to you. But without having to render any reports in the ECATS portal, you're able to wake up in the morning over a cup of coffee and say, hey, this is how we operated from the day before. This is our total 911 call count yesterday. Our total answered calls yesterday, our abandoned call percentages, how did we do against our answer times, right? What was our overall operations like, as well as our top 5 busiest hours. We can add data to this day in review email. We can take data away. One of the things that I think that was pretty neat about North Carolina is they said, well, now that we have a statewide MIS platform and we have statewide data, I want to provide that data to our PSAPs. So there's a column that they've added that says, okay, well, here's your individual PSAP information, but this is how we operated as a state. As a state, this was the total 911 calls that we took in yesterday. So being able to kind of give them that bigger view, right, at a statewide level. Any questions so far? Okay. And I will share this PowerPoint deck. I do have a couple of slides in here that speaks to our i3 reporting suite. I hid them for the sake of this particular demonstration, just because we're not ready to have that discussion, but they are included in this PowerPoint deck. So I'm going to kind of jump into some of the optional add-on modules quickly, and then if we have time, I'll jump into the live demo. So one of the optional add-ons for ECATS is text 911 reporting. This is a standalone offering, so you wouldn't need ECATS MIS call handling reporting to have text 911 reporting. We do report directly from the text control center, from the TCC for both Comtech and Intrado. We provide you with a suite of over 12 reports specific to SMS. They're very similar to the call handling reports, like messages per hour by carrier. Some of the more popular reports would be like the session transcript, where you're actually able to render a report and actually read that text conversation back and forth, right? That not only assists with training purposes, but you're actually able to see how that particular text session was handled. A very popular report in this particular suite.
Hey, Tiffany.
Yes.
Am I correct in assuming that this would only work with text to 911 calls that are coming across the ESInet? Or would
no
this interim text to 911 calls as well?
You got it. You got it. No, so it's not dependent on the ESInet at all. We are actually deployed, and I showed the statewide deployments on the previous slide. We're deployed statewide in text 911 today, regardless of the ESInet, because we're connected directly to the TCC, the Text Control Center. Regardless of you having an active i3 ESInet or not, we're able to provide you with your text reporting.
Very cool.
Yeah,
thank you.
Daryl, I've been using this module for several years here in Arapahoe County.
Very cool.
Great question. Thank you. Any other questions? Awesome. ECATS dashboarding. So we do have provide dashboards as well. So what I'm showing you here is our MIS call handling dashboard. This dashboard is deployed statewide in several of our statewide deployments. But what it does is it gives you a visual representation of the 911 call activity across the whole state of Colorado. So you're able to look at things like call storming. You're able to look at your top 10, and it's all based on alerts and thresholds. So it's actually going to show you your top 20 PSAPs for California, your top 20 PSAPs based on thresholds. So you're able to look at things like outages. You're able to look at things like answer times, hold times, overall call activity for the state. This particular dashboard was actually originally custom built for the Department of Homeland Security and the FCC. They wanted to be able to look at things like terrorist attacks, natural disasters. This particular dashboard in California was used to monitor the Super Bowl, the San Bernardino shooting, if you recall. So it's able to kind of give you that visual representation of 911 call activity across the whole state of Colorado. And again, once you transition over to I3, we do have an I3 dashboard as well. So this is the MIS call handling dashboard. We're also going to be providing an I3 layer of this dashboard as well. So just kind of keep that in mind, just future things to discuss as you transition to I3. Any questions on the dashboard? Alrighty. ECATS wireless routing analysis module, very in-depth. This is, I would say, by far one of the more popular modules, just because a wireless routing is a nationwide issue, right? Ensuring that 911 call is delivered to the correct PSAP the first time. This wireless routing analysis module kind of takes out that manual work that a lot of our customers were doing previously and automates it for them. So this is a suite of reports that we can provide. So again, your wireless call sector report is a part of the standard offering of ECATS. You wouldn't need this module to access this report. But this module provides you with additional reporting. So we have wireless field testing reporting, where you actually can go in, type in the ANI that's being used while you're in the field to kind of test your wireless routing. And we'll actually provide you with reports against that. It's actually going to map. It'll show you, again, not only are we going to be able to show you at what wireless sector were calls picked up on, what PSAP did originate to what PSAP it was transferred to, but we're actually going to plot the calls for you. We're going to give you that visual representation. And that's kind of what you're seeing down here at the bottom, right? You're seeing that this PSAP, it originated this PSAP. This is the tower address. This is the carrier of that tower. This is AT&T Mobility. What it's telling you is that this particular tower picked up 19 wireless calls. Out of those 19 wireless calls, 11 of them were transferred from Grayland Emergency Communications to Castle Rock PD. So there's about 58% of the wireless calls picked up on this particular cell sector that are being transferred. Now, obviously, these are the types of reports that you're going to want to render over a longer period of time, right? But if you're continuously seeing 80% of your calls being transferred, I've rendered this report 90% at times. This is data to be able to take back to that carrier and make some adjustments, right? We're providing you with data to support your decision making. And that's kind of what the purpose of the ECATS module and reporting is. We will provide you with the ability to have new tower reporting as well. So you're able to quickly go into ECATS, render a report, and it's going to show you every new tower that popped up in your jurisdiction within the time frame that you had specified. So that just kind of gives you an overview of the wireless routing analysis module. We are releasing phase 2 of this module. That does release in August, September timeframe of this year. We're really excited about it. It gives you the ability to be able to import your routing sheets directly into ECATS. So there's a lot of increased functionality that's coming with wireless phase 2. Any questions on WRA at all?
Tiffany, this is Bruce. I don't have a question, just a comment that we do have this module, and we've made several changes to routing decisions based on this, where sometimes we're seeing a particular sector is being transferred 75% of the time. So it's probably better if that if it's to one particular PSAP, it's probably better that that PSAP answer and transfer 25% of the calls back to us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that feedback. In addition to the wireless routing analysis module, again, kind of going back to even the standard suite of ECATs, I think that really kind of speaks to the value of a statewide MIS reporting platform and the ability to look at, outside of the call transfer report, right? And our ability to be able to follow a call. We have call transfer count reports where you're able to actually see, well, this is the total number of times that I transferred to every PSAP surrounding my jurisdiction. And this is the total number of times that they transferred to me. So there's a lot to it kind of gives you the ability to be able to look beyond your jurisdiction, what you're actually reporting on for your PSAP, and look at your entire jurisdiction or your entire region or the whole state of Colorado. I appreciate that feedback. Thank you. In addition to the modules that we've discussed, we also have a staffing forecast module. So this module, again, it takes away the kind of the manual effort and your ability to be able to use the early and C calculation and be able to, forecast forward and ensuring that you're properly staffing your PSAP based on SLAs and, call volume coming into your jurisdiction. So the staffing forecast module does use the early and C calculation. It not only has the ability to be able to forecast forward using your 911 call activity, but you can also include text to 911 as well. So it's also not only encompassing MIS call handling, but it's also encompassing text. And it's giving you the ability to be able to forecast forward. So if you want to be able to, you want to know how to properly forecast your PSAP 4th of July next year, as an example, it's going to give you a breakdown per hour. These are the total number of positions that your PSAP should be staffed at based on using the early and C calculation, as well as SLAs. And now when I say SLAs, I'm referring to answer times. So if you want to say, okay, on 4th of July next year, I want to ensure that my PSAP is answering 90% of the calls within 10 seconds or less. It's going to take that into calculation as it's forecasting forward. Not only is it going to show you the total number of positions per hour, it's also going to give you a comparison. So it's going to show you this is how you operated 4th of July this year versus your forecasted 4th of July next year. So you're able to kind of see that delta. You're able to include a growth factor. So if you know that you have your population growth factor is X percentage, well, then you're going to want to take that into factor, right? You're going to want to, include that because the likelihood of your 911 call count increasing would be high given the population increasing. So you have the ability to not only tailor your service levels, you're also able to adjust your growth factor as well as your answer time goal. You can even add time. Maybe you want to add in some prep time for a call. You can even make some adjustments. There's a lot of customization that's involved in the ECAT staffing forecast module.
Hey, Tiffany.
Yes.
A similar kind of calculation that needs to be done in Colorado. So the unit of pricing that we have for 911 service in Colorado is number of 911 lines. We call them concurrent sessions, but it's number of 911 lines coming into the call center. So if a call center wanted to find out if the number of 911 lines they have is sufficient or whether they should look at increasing their number of 911 lines, is this a report that could be customized to provide that kind of information?
That is a phenomenal question. So we actually have reports specific to that. So we actually have circuit utilization reports. We have calls by circuit reports. Those reports are specific to what you're referring to. And what it's going to do is it's going to give you a report that's going to show you every 911 line coming into your PSAP. It'll show you the total number of calls picked up on every circuit, every line within the PSAP. But then it'll also show you utilization, right? So it'll show you if I have 12 circuits in my PSAP, it'll let you know this is the X percentage of time that one circuit was utilized. This is the X percentage of time 2 circuits were utilized at the same time, so on and so forth, right? So at any given time, you wouldn't want to see all 12 of your circuits utilized, right? Because in the likelihood of a 911 caller receiving a busy signal at that point is high. So we do provide you with that level of reporting. And I can actually show you, if you guys don't mind, I'm actually going to show you. We have a few minutes. I'm going to jump over to the live demo. And this is what I was referring to. The calls by circuit. Can you see my screen? I just jumped screens. I'm not sure if you can still see it.
We can still see it.
Okay, perfect. So this is the ECATS interface that I was referencing. So you're able.
Tiffany, we're still seeing your PowerPoint. We're not seeing the actual ECATS.
Got it. Thank you. Give me 1 second. Let me make an adjustment.
And while she's doing that, just for everyone's benefit, if you're not aware yet, in order to get reimbursed for your number of 911 lines, if you want to increase those, you have to actually file an application with the commission now to get reimbursed for those additional 911 lines that you're purchasing from CenturyLink. So having an ability to pull data like this for that application would be very helpful.
Alrighty, so this is your the ECATS interface. Can everyone see my screen? Daryl, are you able to see this?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So these are the reports that I was referencing. Calls by circuit reports, and I can just pull. Let's use Elk Grove. So this is a live portal. This is the state of California's live portal. There are over 450 PSAPs listed in this list. They have the ability to render a report across all PSAPs, so they can, all PSAPs across the state. They can group their data together. So let's say I want to see in one report, I want to be able to, do a PSAP grouping. I want to look at all of my class of service report. I'm going to pull all of my wireless phase 2 calls. I want all of my data separated per PSAP. I want to see all 450 PSAPs broken out individually per PSAP in one report. You have that ability. And so it'll let you know total number of PBX calls, residential, wireless phase 1, wireless phase 2. It'll give you that breakout. Or they can also group it together. Maybe I want to pull my data across every type of class of service. I want it grouped together by month. I don't want to see it broken out by PSAP, but I want to see it for the past year. This is, as a state, this was the total number of wireless phase 2 calls. Just as an example, from a statewide perspective. The calls by circuit report, I'm just going to pull Elk Grove PD. I'm going to do it against 911 calls only. Let me do it for the last full month. I'm going to do a period grouping of it. Do a period grouping of it by week. And we'll generate our report. So these are all the different individual buttons here that I was referring to before. As an example, these are some of the enhanced reports that I had referenced that we built. These are all for the state of California that they have decided to add to their suite of reports. So we have multiple reports: call transfer destination reporting, callback summary reports, missing alley reports. I mean, again, we offer over our enhanced report portfolios, well over 30 reports, 40 reports in our enhanced reports. That's not included in this list. You're going to have your text to 911 reports here, management reports. This is where you would access your staffing forecast module, all of your wireless routing analysis reporting. And then this is all of your I3 ESInet reporting that we would discuss at that time. So this is and I'm just going to zoom in here quickly, your calls by circuit report. This is just an example. Elk Grove PD has one trunk group, one 911 trunk group. And what it's showing you is that it's showing you each individual circuit. It's showing you how the calls were distributed, because you want to make sure that there's someone at an even kill, right? They're being evenly distributed amongst each circuit or within each line within that particular trunk group. And then it's showing you at the percentage of time or the percentage that those calls were distributed. You piggyback that report with the circuit utilization report. It's going to render the same report for circuit utilization. We only have a couple minutes left. As that report's rendering, you're going to see up here at the top an ad hoc button. This is where you're able to come in and build your own ad hoc reports, as well as a raw button. So you're actually able to pull all of the raw data for your PSAP directly from ECATS. Just view and current income data. So you're actually able to, this is how we're providing you with your reporting. So we're taking in every flavor of CDR, regardless of the CP type. You can download this data. So we're kind of giving you the ability to be able to not only have access to the reports, but also access to the raw data as well, directly from ECATS. And here is, oh, it's not yet. It's still rendering. Any questions? I know we only have a couple minutes left. Once you build a custom report, you can save it. I've done a lot of reports. So you're seeing test, but it will save it for you, and you can render that same report that you've built on any given time frame. If you were to receive a shared report from one of your peers, it would be listed here. And again, you can render that report against any time frame. But
Tiffany,
even an ad hoc report, it was built to be user-friendly. So a couple clicks of a button, and you can have your custom report.
Tiffany,
Yes.
so because we've been using ECATS since 2016, if we went with a statewide deployment, what happens to all of my data that's currently held with ECATS?
You would still have access to your data back from 2016.
Okay.
Yep. That you would have access from the time that we were deployed. So if you're able to report today back to 2016, that would not change in a statewide deployment.
Okay.
Great question. Any other questions?
Tiffany, this is Derek. Just wanted to make a quick comment. Just one of the things that ad hoc and all of the other reports have is the ability to schedule reports, as Tiffany referred to. So you can go in and set a schedule and also include those, different personalities that you want to have on that. So when you schedule that report, it can be sent out on a daily, weekly, monthly, time frame on any of these reports. So it gives you the ability to have those without having to go back in and rebuild a report and generate it. It'll just be scheduled.
Thank you for that, Derek. Absolutely. And that's what you're seeing here from the interface. You can select any other reports to the far left, and you can actually schedule that report to be sent automatically to your email without having to access the portal at all. We do have some customers that say, I have to send a report to our 911 board, as an example. Is there any way we can set this up to where that report's automatically rendered and sent to the board? Absolutely. We can set that up for you. Any other questions? I know we're at time at this point.
Tiffany, this is Jeff. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Are your services negotiated under any state or regional purchasing contracts out there?
Like a GSA? Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, or the multi-state purchasing agreements or Colorado?
No, no, they're not. We're not on any statewide or like a GSA or anything of that nature today.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? And again, by all means, let me go back to the PowerPoint. Here's and included in the PowerPoint, again, I just included some key benefits that kind of gives you an overview. But here's my information. By all means, if you want to see a live demo, I had to share a lot of information in a short period of time, but I can do a deep dive. If there's any modules that you're interested in, we can schedule time and we can walk you through that module or that functionality in detail. So by all means, feel free to reach out. Wes, I will send you this PowerPoint to share with Daryl and the team. And
Okay.
then we can take it from there. I appreciate everyone's time. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, everybody. Thanks for getting on the call today, and we will talk to you soon.
Hey, Bruce, just real quick, and everyone, before we, so this is Kimberly. I apologize for leaving you high and dry. Thanks for Bruce and Daryl for stepping in last minute. Just one real quick item about this. This is fantastic, and I'm sure for those of us that don't have ECATs, I know I'm looking at it going, oh my gosh, I want this today. It is so much superior than the Clearview reporting. No offense to anybody, but that product is just not meeting the need. So just like we did with text request, I generated a letter to Lumen, directed to Tim Goodwood, asking them to put together a quote for us on what the next steps could be for us to do a statewide ECATS deployment. I'll do the same for this. So I asked for a statewide text deployment. So now I'll generate a letter on behalf of the ESInet user group for a statewide ECATS deployment to replace that Clearview product. So I just wanted to throw that out there to see if anybody has any concerns with me generating that letter. Now you've seen what ECATS can offer.
Great idea.
Yeah, it is a great idea. And just from the perspective of somebody that's been using it for several years, it's an amazing product. It's so easy to use, and ECATS is amazing to, there was one particular report that they didn't have, but it's data we need. So they send it to us monthly in an Excel spreadsheet without any additional charge. So it's been very useful here.
Okay, perfect. Then I will generate that letter, and I know that's what Tim had asked for considering that conversation about text and coming into the ESInet, how that TCC process would work. So I'll generate that letter for ECATS and we'll see what they say.
Thank you, Kimberly.
All right, that's all I had. So Bruce, I'll turn it back to you. Thank you.
All right, thanks everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks for jumping on today.
Thank you.
Yep, see you guys.